Welcome to the Gaudium et Spes podcast. Every other week, we bring you Catholic teachings and stories of faith from people throughout the Diocese of Pensacola-Tallahassee. This is the Gaudium et Spes podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to our next episode of the Gaudium et Spes podcast. Just as a reminder, tune in to Bishop Bill, who just recently covered the first 5 books of the Bible. But today we have very special guests with Chez and myself. We've got McNinch, who is the Executive Director of Catholic Charities, and Arielle May, who is an Emergency Assistance Specialist based out of Fort Walton Beach with Catholic Charities. Welcome, Matt and Arielle.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here today.
Well, guys, it is our patented time for the very first line, and we're going to put Matt and Arielle through the fire here and see what their highs and lows, griefs, and anxieties are. So join me as we look at, well, you guys can't see it, but I can. Anyhow, the first line of Gaudium et Spes, which goes, the joys and the hopes, the griefs and anxieties of the men of this age, especially those who are poor or in any way afflicted. These are the joys and the hopes, the griefs and anxieties of the followers of Christ. And what a great line, especially for those folks who assist the poor and the afflicted, probably more than any other people in our diocese on a consistent basis. What's going on in your lives? Matt, we'll start with you.
Yeah, well, we're just, trying to do our best to be the hands and feet of Christ and get as much as we can into the community and try to help as many people as possible. Mm-hmm. And it's just an honor and privilege to serve under the bishop and the diocese and to be those hands and feet and carry out the social mission of the Catholic Church to help others. Heck yeah.
Arielle, what's going on in your world?
So a big positive we had in the last 2 weeks is we were able to rehome a homeless veteran who had been retired from the military, unfortunately really struggles with PTSD, and that ended up getting him in a little bit of illegal trouble and led to homelessness. But through working with others, working with his landlord, working with probation and parole, we were able to get him successfully and stably rehoused and really engaged with the services that he needs.
Wow.
Praise God.
Forward.
Yes, that's amazing. Wow.
It's a satisfying day of work.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. Well, Chez, you've been really busy lately.
Yeah, it's just, if you're a part of ministries at your parish or anything, diocesan lines anywhere, the spring, in my experience, tends to be a little bit more elevated than normal. So we're in the midst of Jubilee Masses and get to welcome all these amazing couples from across the diocese to celebrate their anniversaries. But yeah, it's a lot of detail work. It's getting names in the programs correct, and then when you mess them up, you got to redo it again, and then you mess it up again, you redo it again. So it's just like, and I am not, as you probably, if you listen to this podcast, I'm not a detail guy. I am a talk and big picture type of guy and stuff. So yeah, anxiety is elevated this week for that. But we're excited for Jubilee Mass on Sunday, which by the time you hear this will have already passed. So I'll be much happier next time. So Susanne, what's going on with you? Anything new?
Well, I'm trying to enjoy the retired life. Mm-hmm. So the weather's getting nicer, so I was able to get out in the garden yesterday. And I don't know, there's something extremely therapeutic about pulling weeds and planting and cutting bushes. I'm sure many of you out there can relate to that. But, it gives you an opportunity to just sit back and de-stress, reflect on all of the beauty around you, as well as all of the gifts that God has given all of us. So, yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Is this a popular opinion that pulling weeds is therapeutic? What say you guys?
So, yeah.
I think it's instant gratification. I like to cut the grass whenever I get stressed out.
Yeah.
Susanne, I would like you to give my kids a description of why it's therapeutic, because every time I try and get them to pull weeds, it has got to be incentivized by some dessert or money or both. So, yeah, but I agree. I enjoy pulling weeds.
Yes. Well, I think you got to get to a certain age, I think, before you really enjoy it more than as a child. So.
And a certain dosage of back medication.
There you go. Absolutely. So, well, there's a book called Do Something Beautiful for God, and it's the teachings of Mother Teresa. And it's a daily prayer book that gives you a little saying every day from Mother Teresa. And the one for today that we're taping this podcast, it says, I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples. And I think that's so appropriate for having Catholic Charities here today, because I think a lot of what they do is exactly what Mother Teresa just talked about. So we'll get to the heart of why we're here. And so let's start out with you, Matt. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became the executive director of Catholic Charities?
Absolutely. And it's funny that you reference Mother Teresa, because we use her quotes and her knowledge and wisdom in just about all that we do. I mean, it's just beautiful, different, quotes and sayings and things that really hit home to what we do each and every day. But I've been, how did I come to Catholic Charities? Well, it's, you kind of give God the control and he leads you in certain directions. And that's kind of the story of how I came here. I started working for the Diocese back when I was 16. So I've been with the Diocese since I was 22 years old, and in different, capacities. And then towards the end of 2013, the beginning of 14, I got a call that Catholic Charities needed some help. And so I said, sure, jumped on board and started off as the office manager, taking care of the Pensacola office and our Fort Walton Beach office. And then, as I like to joke, they talked me into becoming the chief operating officer. So I happily did that. And then they stepped in as the executive director for Catholic Charities. So I've been the executive director since, I think, April of 2017.
Wow.
And it's just... Diocese is, and our faith has always taken good care of me, and I try to repay the favor by taking care of the faith and the diocese.
Wow, that's amazing. Arielle, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I can. So I am not originally from Northwest Florida. We moved here. My husband was stationed here at Hurlburt in Fort Walton Beach. And when I came to Catholic Charities, I had just had a baby and was fresh off of that. And I've kind of worked in a number of different positions. I've kind of worked in all of our different grants, all of our different departments. In the Fort Walton Beach office, we were restationed. We left the area for 2 years to go to Cannon, New Mexico. And then when we came back, I was messaging them. I was like, hey, I'm coming back to the area. Let me know if you have any openings. And they said, oh, perfect. You start in 2 weeks. We'll give you 2 weeks to unpack. We'll see you Monday.
Wow.
And then I kind of worked in a couple of different departments until the emergency assistance program specialist position came open.
Well, that's terrific. And Matt, can you just tell us a little bit more about what is the mission of Catholic Charities?
Yeah, I mean, the mission is very simple for us. It's to carry out be the social arm of the Catholic Church, to serve, empower, and advocate for any individual and family of any race, religion, or national origin. And so what we do, like I said earlier, is just try to be the hands and feet, try to be the charity arm of the diocese, to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, shelter those who need sheltering. So it boils down to the corporal works of mercy. And that's what our staff does each and every day. And we're very proud of that.
We're Catholic Charities of Northwest Florida, right? Is it traditional every diocese in the country or even in the world has this own kind of dedicated social arm?
Yeah, so I think the last time I checked, there's about 160 or 170 Catholic Charities throughout the country, and some of the dioceses, the majority have a Catholic Charities. Some of them do not, but we are all separately incorporated agencies, and we have a kind of a partner national organization called Catholic Charities USA that kind of coordinates all of us. But the inside joke within Catholic Charities is if you've seen one Catholic Charity, you've seen one Catholic Charities. They're all a little bit different. They all offer different services, but still with the same mission.
And then even internationally, I've heard of things like Caritas. Mm-hmm. So there's even outside of the United States, it's normal. The church has its own organizational structure for parish life, ministry life, priest life, and stuff. But then usually a separate kind of a service arm, I guess you would say.
They do. It's the calling of the church. The core of what we do is charity.
Okay.
That's is a directive from the Pope, and that you can't have the church without having charity. They're both tied together. And so, yes, we have a lot of great organizations: Catholic Charities, Catholic Relief Services, St. Vincent de Paul. All of those, we really strive to do our best to serve the community through our faith. Catholic Charities was founded in the United States in 1910. And so our Catholic Charities here in Northwest Florida was founded 18 years later in 1928. So we are one of the oldest Catholic Charities in the United States, definitely in the state of Florida. But we're coming up, I think, or we're already past 94 years. So we're looking forward to our 100-year anniversary.
Neat.
It's really exciting.
Yeah, that is. So you're made up of not only employees, but you also have a large cadre of volunteers. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yes. So what we do, we have, what we pride ourselves on, and our funding, of course, we rely heavily on donations. We rely heavily on fundraising, but we also are able to get, we have private foundations that come to us, state grants, federal grants. And why they're comfortable coming to us is because we hire professional case managers, professional social workers, where when we're doing financial assistance or we're doing adoptions, we make sure that we're fully vetting the families, that we have professional staff that are administering funds correctly. Because the last thing you want to do is give out, everybody's deserving, but sometimes, you want to make sure that you're, what we say, the most in need, the most vulnerable are the populations that we are looking for.
Very good. And Arielle, what exactly does an emergency assistance specialist do?
So I oversee our emergency assistance kind of umbrella in Fort Walton Beach. What's covered under that umbrella is our food pantry, our mobile food pantry, which is called the Caring Coach. And then it's also our financial assistance, which is where we try to assist families with past due rent, past due utilities. If they have something where, they've experienced homelessness, we're going to try to rehouse them. And that can be help with the initial deposits, first month's rent, last month's rent, to try to break that cycle of homelessness.
Yeah. Not what we do, it's not just about paying somebody's rent. It's ensuring that they don't get back into that situation. So the easiest part is cutting the check. The hardest part is making sure that family is signed up for every benefit that they could be receiving. They have the tools and resources. We go through budgeting. We go through financial literacy with them. Different predatory lenders. I mean, the actual check's a small part of what we do. And it's also advocating for these families. So a lot of what Arielle and her team have to do is reach out to landlords, build those relationships with landlords, because a lot of the individuals we're serving have, past evictions. And as we know, we're, in a pretty major housing crisis right now. And so it's a lot of advocacy that they do for their clients.
You say kind of we're in the midst of a major housing crisis, and I think you mentioned the mobile food pantry, and I think a lot of people hear statistics about food insecurity, but it's just in our day-to-day lives, most people are like, well, most of my friends and family members seem fine and stuff like that, and some people, like, we're in the richest country in the world, right? I mean, like, the most resources available and stuff like that. You guys, though, see this on a day-to-day basis. Like, is the need small? Is it ginormous? Is it just kind of hidden behind the scenes and we don't really see what's going on? Or if you could speak into that a little bit.
So I do think that it's hidden. And I think that a lot of people are like, oh, my friends, my family, my coworkers, people I know, they're fine. But you don't always know that, because it is our friends, our neighbors that are coming to our food pantry in Fort Walton, our physical location, but that are also coming to our caring coaches, where we have those in areas that are considered food deserts. So they don't have a large amount of food pantries nearby. Like Fort Walton has our food pantry, they have Sharing and Caring, and they have another food pantry. But Crestview on the north end of the county, Baker, those places don't necessarily have the resources that you think about in the south end of the county.
So there's not 4 grocery stores on every corner in every part of the world. I mean, this is me selfishly. I grew up in suburbia. It was like anywhere I turned, I could go buy food anywhere, and it was relatively affordable according to my family's budget. That's not everybody's reality.
Well, and food is one of the hardest people have the hardest time asking for food because you would think it's such a basic necessity, but we see the people, the homeless out there that are right in front of our faces, but there's a whole other population of homeless individuals that we don't see. The single mother living in her car with her kids in the Walmart parking lot because she's worried the Department of Children and Families is going to find out and her kids are going to be removed. So there is a whole other hidden population of homeless individuals, people that are couch surfing, staying at friends' houses. And that's a lot of the individuals that we see coming to us to do that. But our food pantry, I think, anywhere from in a given year, it'll serve between 30 to 50,000 individuals in a single year, just out of Fort Walton Beach. And on top of that, they do a sandwich program as well. So we do sack lunches for individuals, and there's really no stipulations. They can come in and get as many sandwiches as they like. So we like to say, anybody that's around our food pantry has no excuse to be hungry. We'll come in and we'll feed you. And that was one of the reasons why the mobile food pantry started was because, if you can't afford a bag of food, you can't afford a tank of gas to drive 45 minutes to come to our food pantry. So we're going to come to you. And so that's what we do.
Yeah, that's incredible. So obviously you also service, other places within Northwest Florida. Where else are there food pantries available?
Absolutely. So we cover the full 18 counties across Northwest Florida. So from Pensacola all the way past Tallahassee. So we have food pantries in Fort Walton Beach. We have a food pantry in Panama City that also has a Caring Coach program that gets out to the rural counties and areas around Bay County. And then we have a food pantry in Tallahassee as well.
Great. Can anyone just donate, drop off things?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
We rely heavily on food donations and monetary donations. We are very strict when we receive a monetary donation. It's earmarked for the food pantry. 100% of that funds goes towards our food pantries.
Great. That's,
Take us. So we've got Catholic Charities, big wide network, do emergency assistance, food insecure housing. What else do you guys do? What else is on the
We do a lot. So as we, like Arielle said, we look at it as umbrella. EA is definitely our biggest program and definitely most needed with the pandemic and everything. Yeah, emergency assistance. Yes.
Easy with the acronyms.
I will drop so many acronyms. We actually have an acronym book to decipher all of our acronyms. So our financial emergency assistance program, of course, helps with rent, utilities, mortgages, life-sustaining medication. We're able to do little things on the side. We've gotten AC units for individuals and heaters and stuff like that. But we also do our food pantry, so that falls under the emergency assistance program. We do our Christmas Connection program, which a lot of the community is very familiar with, that we rely heavily on the community. And actually, we had our large emergency assistance staff meeting yesterday where we go through our goals and our outcomes and stuff like that. And I think we served close to 4,700 individuals through Christmas Connection this Christmas. So thank you to the community. That was one of our biggest years ever, and it was just fantastic. We have a transitional shelter, family shelter in Panama City called the St. Barnabas House, which is a great program. What else do we do? With disaster assistance. Matthew's Nursery, which is our baby pantry, which started in Panama City, but now we have one in each of our locations, and it gives out layettes, or what we lovingly call a baby starter kit to new and expectant mothers. And it has diapers and wipes and everything. It's a great starter kit.
And spoons, so not just the starter, spoons, cups, when we have those kind of things too,
And then, of course, after Hurricane Michael, we did disaster assistance, and after Hurricane Sally. So we're coming up on close to 600 major home repair projects after Hurricane Michael, and that includes roof, drywall, flooring, just major jobs. We did distribution right after that, 5 distribution points. The largest one, St. Dominic's, served 89,000 individuals in 49 days. We coordinated, I think it was 2,300 volunteers who logged 24,000 volunteer hours, and an estimated about 500,000 hot meals were served out of those distribution sites. And that all happened in 49 days. But then the long-term recovery took over. So then what we do also, we have been doing child placements or adoptions since 1954. We actually have a staff member that was adopted through our agency years ago and now works with us. Yeah, it's a really neat story. And she doesn't mind us sharing that. And so that pregnancy and adoption is one of our core mission programs. Of course, we always advocate for life and choosing life. And the adoption program is licensed through DCF, Department of Children and Families, so we can do home studies, we do child placements. One of the neatest things we're doing are non-identifying searches. A birth mom reaching out, looking for a child that she placed with us, or vice versa.
Oh, wow.
And there's a lot of beautiful stories that come out of that, some sad stories, but also a lot of beautiful stories that come out of that. We also do immigration and refugee services, so we do help people become documented citizens of the United States the correct and ethical way. All of our social workers or case managers are accredited through the Department of Justice, and so we help them fill out the necessary paperwork, build a case for them, submit that to the Department of Justice as well as Homeland Security, and we get a lot of great stories from that too. I think we're able to approved applications is how we refer to it. That's when somebody says, okay, you get to go through your get to become a documented citizen.
Wow.
We'll get notices anywhere from 800 of those to 1,200 a year. So, and then of course we do refugee resettlement, which is helping people that have been persecuted overseas, bring them over here so that they have a safe place to live, so they're not being persecuted. And the big topic has been the Afghanistan refugees, or the special immigrants.
Just in recent months, right? Yep.
In the recent months, and so we've been able to resettle, I think, about anywhere from 10 to 15 of those families that helped our government overseas, and their lives became in danger because of that. And that is a lot of case management that goes through that, where we assist them through our contract for 3 months, but of course we form lifelong relationships with them and help them out as long as we can. But we have to find housing, have to find jobs, if they don't speak English, we have to sign them up for English as a second language, get them signed up for public benefits, get their kids enrolled in school. So it's a wonderful program, but very, very large. So. Did I miss anything?
Does anybody sleep at Catholic Charities? No. Just the scope. I remember being introduced to the scope. You mentioned adoption 10 years ago when my wife and I lived in Northern Virginia. She was actually a home study specialist for Catholic Charities of Northern Virginia, Diocese of Arlington, Northern Virginia, and it was she mentioned going to like the Catholic Charities gatherings of the entire staff, and there was she had her little office with I think 7 or 8 people who were mostly all just adoption specialists, and then the scope of the entire reach of Catholic Charities up there, especially in a large metro area, was just like it blew her mind, it blew my mind. But yeah, I mean, just if you think that Catholic Charities is just about like putting a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in a bag and handing it out after a hurricane, it's like. It's the numbers you're mentioning, the scope, the details are just kind of mind-numbing in a sense.
There are the Catholic Charities out there, and I don't know all the statistics, but there are certain Catholic Charities that have upwards of 4,000 employees that work at their Catholic Charities. And we kind of joke internally that, Catholic Charities is the best kept nonprofit secret. But when you look at the numbers, when we combine our numbers, we are definitely, if not the largest, but one of the largest nonprofits throughout the country. I think last year, our agency gave out a little over or close to $2.2 million in direct financial assistance. And that doesn't include any of our in-kind services, like all the food going out or Matthew's Nursery or the Christmas gifts. That's just straight financial assistance going out to back into Northwest Florida. But when you look at it as a country, I think it's a couple $2 billion of what the Catholic Charities across the nation is able to distribute back into our country.
Very nice. Do you work with other nonprofit agencies within our area to execute your mission?
I've been talking too much. Why don't you take that one?
Yes, always. That's a really, we talked about advocacy being a core part of it. I would think another core part of it is just resources, making sure that we have all the resources and that we have a contact at those resources that we're able to kind of touch base with and say, hey, let me give you this warm handoff so this person doesn't get kind of lost in the shuffle. So I think that's something that across Northwest Florida, all of our offices do really well. We have really good relationships with the other charities and nonprofits and churches that are in our specific areas.
There's not one agency that can do it alone, and we rely heavily on partnerships. And we reach out, and we get reached out to a lot on, we can do this, but we're falling short on this. Can y'all help with this? So we like I said, we rely heavily on partnerships. It's key.
Yeah, great. Well, and I've also seen that not only do you help people in our area, but you also coordinate efforts in our, surrounding, counties and areas and stuff for especially like hurricane relief.
We always try to give back. And, after Sally, we had so many great organizations that came to us. I mean, after Michael, the outpouring of the country was just unbelievable. It is just amazing. And so when we ever have the opportunity, we like to give back and repay favors. And so yes, we're able to quickly coordinate and, get supplies to other areas and everything like that.
Yeah, I love that. It's more than just us. It's about everybody. It's about helping as many people as we can. So
yeah, the development of partnerships. But I got a little glimpse into it after Michael, just being in the St. Dominic parking lot, and so that wasn't just a Catholic Charities operation, or was it just a Catholic Charities operation?
We always say we're kind of behind the scenes.
Right.
I would say that we're kind of the catalyst to get it started. And,
right.
And even with the caring coach, we really like the volunteers that come to us to take ownership of it, we can give our tips and directions and, get what we need from it, but we want them to feel really involved. So, the distribution sites, all of them, including St. Dominic's, it was the day after saying, hey, do you guys want to do a little bit of distribution? And that little bit turned into a, kind of field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. And sure enough, people came. So
you probably see that all the time in your work is a need presents itself. And then you just have people who are driven or called or both from all different directions kind of come and meet that need. And you kind of figure out the details and the administration sometimes along the way on the fly, always doing your due diligence. But this partnership work between private entities, between nonprofits, between government and private and stuff like that, like if we didn't have this cooperation or collaboration, needs would not get met.
Yeah, you got to be fluid. I mean, like you said, you got to have your policies and procedures, and have your blueprint of what you're going to do. But every storm is different, every need is different, and you got to be able to be flexible and meet those needs. And we call it God things, is what we say. We'll be talking about this client needs a house, or needs a needs a travel trailer because their home is being worked on, and it's like the next day somebody will call with saying, hey, I have a travel trailer that that you might need. Or, the food pantry's running low, and we'll have a school call, and, they were doing a food drive that we didn't know about. And it's just such blessings that come to us all the time.
Here, I wanted to ask you real quick, you're a mom, right? Mm-hmm. Mom of three?
Three.
Okay. So your work, as you mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, that you resettled this homeless veteran, probably an older gentleman or middle-aged gentleman.
Yes.
Okay.
40s.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's a lot. I think when I was a kid or when I was a young adult or a teenager or stuff, that was like, who needs assistance? It's usually that kind of like, it's like maybe a grizzled person, like seeing the rougher side of life or something like that. But I'm assuming as a mom of three, you probably see like for moms in their 20s, 30s, young kids.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes.
Describe the impact that has on you or.
So I think for me, it's something where I can kind of see, like, this is my counterpart. I can see myself in this mom she's just trying to do her best for these children. She's trying to connect to resources. She's just looking for someone to help. So for me, it's really big and important for me to, personally to be like, okay, I can help you. Like, you're not doing this alone. Like, no man is an island kind of idea.
Parenting's lonely enough as it is sometimes, even when you have like a big support system. And I can't imagine if I didn't have my in-laws, my parents, my friends, a stable community, a stable job. Like, I feel like I was drowning every day. I don't know if you get to speak to people more in depth about how they're feeling and trying to give them a little kind of shot in the arm and a sense of hope or something. But man.
Yeah. And that's something that especially when they come in and they're like almost, I think Matt touched on it earlier, that food being one of the hardest things to ask for. And I think especially for moms and dads too. I see dads too come in. And it's really hard to say, like, do you have any baby formula? Mm-hmm. I can't feed my baby. Mm-hmm. But baby formula is expensive.
Right.
And baby food it can be pricey too. Yeah. So it's kind of taking away that stigma, like that it's okay to reach out to us and to ask for help, but also to accept the help, that it doesn't speak negatively to your parenting. If anything, it's a positive. Mm-hmm. And it's something that I talk to a lot about parents is this is a positive, and you're teaching your child like to reach out to others, to accept help when they need it. And, that's only going to make them a more well-rounded person. Yeah. So.
It's not one of those jobs or ministries where you pack up at the end of the day and you go home and you don't think about it. The stories that stick with you. We have to be very careful with what we call caring fatigue with the staff, burnout, because every call that they get, every issue, it's a crisis, and it's they're hard stories. Some of them are heartbreaking. You don't ever forget them.
Mm. Wow. Mm. Well, what are some of the biggest challenges that you're currently facing?
Biggest challenges. I would say Arielle, but that wouldn't be very nice.
Depends on the day.
No, we have a great team at Catholic Charities, and we all back each other up. What's challenging for us is when we're not able to come together as a team because of the pandemic. With not being able to pull the team together for an all staff meeting because we're worried about cross-contaminating and have the whole staff get sick, which wouldn't be doing a service for our community. We had one of our first in-person big EA staff meetings yesterday, and so that was great just to see the staff interacting with each other and things like that. But it's not an easy job. It is very stressful. It's stressful on the staff. It's stressful from the highest level down to the lowest level. Every phone call we get is an emergency. I always say our admin staff, our front desk staff have the hardest job in the organization, and they are just so caring. We call them directors of first impressions. They're just so caring with those individuals on the phone, and their phone is lit up like a Christmas tree because there's 10 other people trying to get through with their story and their heartache. And and the grants are always changing. There's never enough money to serve anybody. I think I said we gave out over $2 million last year, but that's just a drop in the bucket of what's needed in our community. Right. So it's challenging. It's a very rewarding job, but at the same time it can be very stressful, and no good deed goes unpunished, as they say. You try to do your best and serve as many people as possible.
Yeah, and I would say that, and I think the lingering effects of COVID-19, because we're still seeing people that are coming to us that have been laid off and haven't been able to return to work, or that now they've gotten it twice and they're having to quarantine again, and now it's not paid quarantine, and they're just trying to get back to a normal, and we're seeing a lot of burnout, just individuals that come and ask for help because it's like, I've been trying to get through this. Where's the end?
Yeah. I think a statistic is that 60% of the state of Florida lives paycheck to paycheck. So what people don't think about is, you have sick time, you have vacation time. A lot of us do. But what if you don't have that? What if your child, their daycare gets shut down by no fault of their own, or the parent gets sick and they miss a week of work? I mean, that throws them into turmoil. And we saw that before. What if their car broke down? What if they had an unexpected medical expense? And so, we always validate the emergency assistance need. They have to have some sort of, whether it's health or medical, but we also look at, they had major car repairs, or they had an unexpected death and funeral expenses and stuff like that. So it's always been there, but COVID's just exacerbated that severely.
Yeah.
even you think about sick time, you think about vacation time, but what if you have 3 kids in different schools?
Yep.
And then each has to quarantine, and then, you know, what if one shuts down? Then maybe you've already used your sick time, vacation time. You know, there's no like child's class shutdown time.
Yeah.
As bad as COVID's been, and it's been tragic, it's been annoying, it's been frustrating, it's been everything. It has been helpful to me personally to realize just how, in some cases, tenuous the link of daily existence is, and just my exactly. It's like I rely on my school for my the school for my kids being open. That I have to. In order to function as a family, kids have to go somewhere at some point during the day. I rely on our nation's infrastructure to deliver food to my local non-food desert area. And something the link gets exposed. It's maybe it's a little more tenuous than you thought it was, and maybe just the paycheck to paycheck living. 60% of the state of Florida already kind of experienced this, and I think for me it was, and I think a lot of other people, was kind of oh, the veil is thin to pierce between kind of feeling insecure, feeling nervous, feeling like I don't have my life is kind of just wrapped up for the rest of, I just have to keep doing my job and everything's going to take care of itself. It's that's not how most people live, life just doesn't just take care of itself, in perpetuity.
Well, the community's been so gracious too, and just so giving through all of this as well. We were, very nervous of what was going to happen. We had to cancel, major fundraising events and in-person events, and just the outpouring from the community. And I think if there was one positive from COVID, it really, made us reassess what's important to us. Our family's important, health is important, but giving back to others is very important too. It really got the issues that have always been there for years, the food insecurity, paycheck to paycheck. It really put in the forefront how many people out there are right on the brink. I mean, missing one day of work can really mess up your whole budget, your whole month, and throw you off on everything.
Yeah. Well, how there is a need, there continues to need, there will always be a need. How can we, as the average layperson or an organization out there, how can we help you?
I think first off, our staff does such a great job, and we have a wonderful team. So, just keep them in your prayers. They go through a lot. They work very hard for our organization. So any prayers are always welcome. We rely heavily on volunteers at a lot of our offices. So, please visit our website. It's ccnwfl.org. So Catholic Charities Northwest-Florida.org. Keep an update on that. Keep an update on our Facebook. Help us like and share stuff. Food donations are always welcomed, and monetary donations. We pride ourselves on being great stewards of every donation that we receive, and pride ourselves on thanking every donor that gives to us. And so, we do our best to serve the community, but we can't do what we do without the community. It is, our donors are the key to what we do. Sure. So that would be my suggestion.
I know for our office specifically, we always encourage people to come by and see what we're doing, because there's so many different volunteer opportunities that, if you're thinking, oh, I want to volunteer, but I don't really know what I would do, we always love to show you different ways, to come and help where your comfort level is at and where your heart is at.
Oh, that's terrific.
Yeah, folks, if you're in your parishes and you're just I don't fit in this ministry, or I don't know if I can help out here. I think a lot of people, they know Catholic Charities exists, but they don't know that they can get involved. They know they can get involved with St. Vincent de Paul at their parish a lot of time, but we're everywhere in all 18 counties. We'll put your hands to the plow somewhere if you're willing, and all types of skills, I'm assuming, are welcome.
Absolutely.
Soft skills.
We need, we need help with everything. I mean, there's administrative work, there's boots on the ground work, there's just a number of things that people can do. So offices where we have the food pantries at are a little bit easier to kind of start off. Pensacola office, because that houses our immigration and our emergency assistance. We don't have a food pantry in the Pensacola office, but it is, we always need help there as well.
Certainly. And want to dispel the myth that you only help Catholics or that only Catholics can volunteer.
Yeah,
that is incorrect.
Yeah, the biggest misconception about Catholic Charities is you have to be Catholic to work at Catholic Charities, or you're Catholic to be served by Catholic Charities, and it's the complete opposite. Each year on average, 90% of the people we serve are non-Catholic. We like to say we don't serve people because they're Catholic, we serve people because we're Catholic. Right. And a lot of our staff that work with us, they believe in Christ, they believe, in God, and they're good Christians, but they're not Catholic. And we're fine with that because, like Arielle said, we have all walks of life that come to our offices. And so we try to, pair people with an individual that they're a case manager that they would be comfortable with, And so we really try to, meet their needs on basic levels. And that first level is the relationship.
That's our 18 counties. If you decided to only serve Catholics it is a 90-10 breakdown or 95-5 breakdown. I don't know where you would be exactly if you were like, no, we're only serving the Catholics today. It's like,
yes, yeah. No.
Could you open up the doors a little bit more? Awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. Gosh, Matt and Arielle, what a pleasure to have you guys here with us today.
Well, we can't thank you all enough for allowing to do this.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. So don't forget www.ccnwfl.com. Correct.
Org.
Org. Sorry.
So we always say Catholic Charities of NorthwestFlorida.org. So ccnwfl.org.
Very good.
They invented this thing called Google. You can just look this up on Google.
We also, Derek, our producer behind the scenes, I'm sure you could throw a little text on the bottom if you're watching on YouTube or something like that. And if you're listening to only audio version, just hit the 15-second back button a couple times. You'll get it.
Very good. Okay, well, great. Well, thank you all for joining us again today. And stay tuned for our next episode, which will have Bishop Walk continue his Bible series by talking about the prophets. So have a great day.
Thank you for tuning in today to the Gaudium et Spes podcast. If you would like to know more about our podcast, please visit gaudiumetspes.net or go to ptdiocese.org and click the button that says podcast. If you listen to the audio version from an app such as iTunes, Stitcher, or Spotify, be sure and rate, review, and comment. If you watched us on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe or leave us a comment there as well. Thank you for joining us.